Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the screening of the 2026 Oscar-nominated animated shorts. Just as background for our audience, Chris Levis and Maciek Cherbovsky are no strangers to raking in tons of awards for their innovative stop animation work. Their nomination for The Girl Who Cried Pearls is, in fact, their second Oscar nod in the animation category. Madame Tootly Pootly was nominated in 2008, and we actually screened Higgledy Piggledy Pop last year in our program called The Art of Stop Animation, which starred none other than Meryl Streep. Today, we are extremely fortunate to have another celebrated actor with us. Our guest, Colm Feore, who is familiar to audiences across Canada and around the world for his many stage, screen, and television performances. Colm did a masterful job bringing the role of the narrator to life for The Girl Who Cried Pearls, which we just screened, and he is here with us now. Thank you, Colm, for joining us today.
Pleasure to be with you.
Now, I did my research, and I know that the filmmakers had you on their radar for many, many years, since 32 short films about Glenn Gould, in fact, and that they were hot to get you for this part. They really wanted you. Describe how that came about. How did they approach you about the role?
That never occurred to me. It never appeared that way to me, and it certainly didn't reflect itself in the fee. So I'm not sure what they're talking about. Uh, but I was delighted to be approached. I got a reach out at some point. I guess now it's a couple of years ago, to consider voicing this. And so they sent me the show in its rough
Mhm.
way, put together in this rough way, representing years of work. And I just thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a fabulous piece. I thought it was beautifully done. It
Mm.
also was, obviously Redland of Montreal, where you and I had both gone to school. It was all of that kind of snowy, horrible, beautiful Montreal weather and uh, geography and
And the light on the
architecture.
buildings, they really
Oh
captured
yeah, and
right
they
off the
just
top.
beautifully, and so I thought, oh, I know that, but I know what that sounds like. I know what that guy might sound like, and so consequently, I was very excited to participate.
Well, they must have been thrilled, and I think you had one qualification for taking on the part.
Well, yeah, and the first qualification, when you see the film, and if you've already seen the film just now, you'll know that the lead character is caught uh, in his advanced age,
Hmm.
and so that was partly how I was, sold to them. I mean, obviously, I started with an advantage because, as you can tell, I am of advanced age,
Oh,
and
you're
so that,
decrepit. Yes,
yeah,
completely
yeah, well,
decrepit.
but interestingly enough, in this case, decrepitude was very useful for the part, for both, the standing difficulty and
Right.
sitting down and various other things to be convincing in this regard.
Well, I have to tell you something. I'm a little embarrassed to admit this. I saw the film last December, and before I even knew you had anything to do with it, and I happened to notice your name in the credits. And then I saw it again. The first time I saw it, I was so absorbed by it, and I knew you were doing the grandfather role. I had no clue that you were doing the other parts, because I got so immersed in the story, and I didn't even notice that their lips didn't move until I saw it the second time, and I was like, "How did I not?" Because all the movement is there with the characters, and the intention is there, and the voices are there. So when I say you did a masterful job, you really did, because you were the boy, you were the pawnbroker, you were the jeweler, as well as the grandfather, everything but the little girl, and it just sort of shocked me. I mean, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I was totally clued out.
You're not the first one to say that. I talked to some other people who've seen it and said, I had no idea you did all the other parts. I went, well, it's sort of like me, but I have experience doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen 32 short films about Glenn Gould, which I have to say I can now recommend, is newly released on Criterion Collection. Uh,
I'm actually in it. I was Glenn Gould's
No, I
chambermaid.
was telling, no, listen, I was telling somebody at Wild Hog yesterday, not only that you were going to rerunning on all the films for the Oscar nominated films, but I said, she's in the film.
A little cameo.
It's not a cameo. It's hugely important. And they asked, "Oh, were you then working at Inn on the Park?" And I said, "Well, I guess she
I
was,
was across the
because
street on
she knew
Jarvis
about
Street.
all the
Yeah.
crackers and the ketchup, et cetera, et cetera." And I said, "And she's in it, and she runs this festival here." So I was doing a huge plug for you at Wild Hog, and
Thank
hopefully
you.
hopefully I sold some tickets. But the bottom line is, in 32 short films about Glenn Gould, I obviously play Glenn Gould,
Yes.
but I also do,
Brilliantly, I might say.
you're very kind, but I also do all the other voices, the radio host, the launch of the Voyager satellites, all I
I did
because
not
we
know that.
because we had no money, right? We had absolutely no money. So they said, "Hey, listen, do you mind over your lunch break if you record these?" I said, "And think of a different voice." Oh, okay. Sure, I'll do that.
Wow.
And obviously with The Girl Who Cries Pearls, these skills have served me
They
well.
have. Well, I think it's also definitely your skill set, but also
Can
in
you bring
the
more tomorrow?
immersive the story itself and the stop animation, because there's so much to look at. The detail is exquisite. The crystal
They're
on the
not
glass,
from
and
any
the
mollusk.
jeweler
Tell me, where
shop
did
and
you
the
get that?
pawnbroker shop, and when he
The
pulls
hands.
the hands when she burns herself, the mother holds her hand. I kind of gasped because it was very visceral. So is this a collaboration you think you will work with them again? They say they work with the same actors over and over again. Is this
Well,
something
listen,
you would reprise?
I'm happy to work with them anytime. They're brilliant guys.
I did a ton of voice work way back in the day, and I've worked with a lot of voice actors. And, most people, with given a role like this, they would have read the script one, maybe two times. They would have rolled in, tried to lay it down. They would not have put I mean, you really treated this as a role that you explored, and this is what the filmmakers were staggered by, that you had put so much work into it that when you did get to the studio, it was pretty fast because they said it was like you were almost off book. You knew the script
Mhm.
inside and out. You had asked them a lot of questions, and they were surprised by that. How did you approach your preparation for this role?
I'm surprised that they were surprised. To
How do I
me,
all know all this and you don't? How do I?
well, no, but to me, that's what professional acting is about.
Right.
Who's that lady
This
there?
show is no different than if I was doing King Lear or Richard
Don't
III or
worry.
anything else I
I'm not
would do.
calling this all
Hmm.
that.
Um, and and the reason for that is, and in fact, it's even more important when you're talking about something from the NFB, which is going to live forever on
Right.
Air Canada, if nowhere else, and tour the world and be pointed at. Oh, that's those guys. They're amazing. And so you have a responsibility to bring
Yeah.
everything that you know how to do.
Mhm.
I have never felt that just showing up and reading a cold thing would be of value or do justice to my talent and what the folks who were paying needed.
Mhm.
And so we meet somewhere in the middle. I do an enormous amount of work so that we can sit and have a wonderful time. And we did. Unlike I have more nuance, more
Mhm.
experience, and I'm hoping that will allow me to keep working for another year or two, though I'm not so sure.
What was your
Mhm.
takeaway from this film?
Well, first of all, I think what has to be recognized is how unspeakably difficult it is to make such a thing.
Hmm.
I've always been a huge fan of things like Aardman animation, Wallace and Gromit and all those wonderful kinds of things. So this was an easy sell for me, but it's difficult to explain to an audience that I was the last 2% of the 98% of the work that went into this.
Right.
That it took
It's
an
full of
enormous
so
team
many
of
different
people
things.
There's no sequels at
years
all.
Hmm.
to get 17 minutes
Mhm.
of something this extraordinary and beautiful, and that has been recognized at the Oscars, is enormously gratifying for the boys and for me and everybody involved, I hope. But by golly, it's hard to do. Now, what do we get when we do all that hard work? If it's done properly,
Mhm.
there's something that repays a second, a third, and a fourth viewing.
Mhm.
There's stuff you never saw, there's stuff you never heard, as indeed in your case. Well, wait a minute, I didn't notice that. I didn't know it was you, and you're not alone in this. I didn't know it was you doing all the other voices.
Mhm.
And so you start to see the layers of interest, and then it starts to offer more questions.
Mhm.
What's going on with the pawnbroker? Who is that jeweler? And that jeweler, particularly, I was very interested in because it was such a Montreal iconic
It
kind
certainly
of
was.
look, right?
Right.
And so, I'll be honest with you. I said to the guys, look, I know what he looks like. I know where he lives. I went to school where he lives. And I bought bagels in the neighborhood.
Yes.
And so there was just so much to look into and to mine and to research and to offer that I think it repays, as I say, many, many, many viewings. And so it is my hope, and why I invested so much in it, that it will have a real life, that it will be one of those touchstones of their work that people go, oh, yeah, but did you see the girl who cried pearls? Oh,
Well,
there's
and
so
I
many.
should let our viewers, our audience members know that if they enjoyed this or if they want to watch it again or if they want to share it with anybody else, it is, you can stream it for free on the National Film Board website. And there are a ton of other wonderful stop motion films,
Oh,
including
yeah.
by this team. Now, I take it they're going to be at the Oscars tomorrow on the 15th of March.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Are you going? Are you, is that in your
I
future?
have just come back from Los Angeles from the Screen Actors Guild Awards, where me and my colleagues were nominated as Best Ensemble for a show called Landman with
Landman, yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton and Sam Elliott, etc. Alas, we lost to The Pit, which was we were robbed, but we were there, and it was a very starry affair.
It looked a lot like a lot of fun.
But the truth of the matter is, Paramount Plus
Uh-huh.
um, flew us in because they had a huge interest in promoting the show and all that. The National Film Board of Canada is playing with your money, and
True.
needless to say, I must point out that The
True.
Girl Who Cried Pearls is already yours. So you must
Right.
needs go watch it again for free because you've already paid for it.
Well, I also want to let our audience know that this is the seventh film you've been in that has been nominated for an Oscar. So
Is it?
yes, yes,
Oh,
it is. I'm doing my Brian Linehan right now. It
no,
is.
because I wasn't too sad about losing the Landman Best Ensemble because I already have one of those for Best Ensemble for
No,
the
but this is the
Oscar-winning
seventh
Chicago.
film you've been in that's been nominated for an Oscar. So
Golly,
yes, I will have to find the list and send it to you.
please
Well,
do.
I'm so glad you mentioned 32 short films about Glenn Gould because we would really like to screen it and we'd love to coordinate that with your schedule so you could be here in person next time.
Oh,
Uh, would you be open to that? I'm going to put
I would
yeah.
absolutely love that. And the two of us together who are in the film together, that would be fun. And you know that I think Kate Hennig is around and
Oh, yes.
she plays the maid in the Hamburg scene. I believe she lives in Stratford. And I'm
And I might even get
absolutely
Sheena McDonald from Rhombus to come in from
oh,
Moncton. I just saw her last week.
I
So,
would be delighted. She is amazing and has always greased the wheels wherever I've gone with
oh,
her. So we have a huge Glenn Gould appreciation here, and I would be delighted to be with you whenever you
well,
decide.
that makes me very happy because we would love to showcase your talents, and especially because Stratford knows and loves you so much, Colm, and
Very kind.
uh, you're a national treasure. So, anyway, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for your mesmerizing performance, and I hope the film wins. Yay! So,
Thank you so much for your interest, and thank everybody for watching.
Okay, we'll speak soon. Thanks.
Cheers.